There are places in the United States that people don't talk about. Stretches of forest so deep, so old, and so quiet that sound seems to get swallowed before it reaches the trees. Tonight's story happened in one of those places, Pine Hollow, a remote section of the Appalachian Mountains, a place where people go missing in ways search teams can't explain, and this story, this disappearance, haunts rangers to this day. This is the case of Henry Walker, a man who walked into Pine Hollow on June 11, 2012, and never walked back out. And the evidence he left behind is the reason the area was quietly closed 2 years later. Henry Walker was 38 years old. Born and raised in Tennessee, quiet, respectful, kept to himself. He wasn't the kind of man who caused problems, and he wasn't the kind of man who made stupid decisions. He was experienced, cautious, prepared. He knew the Appalachian forests better than most. His friends said he went hiking to clear his mind. His sisters said it was the only place he truly felt calm. He signed into the Pine Hollow Trail Registry at 6:43 a.m. on June 11, 2012. He walked into the woods alone. Nobody ever saw him walk back out. The first night, Henry had a habit. He recorded nighttime sounds. Crickets, owls, wind. That recorder is the reason this story is known today. On his first night, around 11:20 p.m., he captured something strange. You hear him zipping his tent, settling in. Then, 3 knocks, deep, perfectly spaced. Not a branch, not an echo, not an animal. 3 knocks. Exactly like someone hitting a tree with a heavy piece of wood. Henry whispers, "Hello? Who's out there?" Silence. 30 seconds pass. Then, 3 more knocks, much closer. Henry's breathing speeds up. Then the recording captures something unnatural, a low, deep rumbling sound, not a growl, not a human voice. Something like a giant exhaling underwater. Henry whispers, No, that's not right." Then the recording cuts out. He turned it off himself. Nobody knows why he didn't leave the next morning. In day 2, Henry's camera was found. Most photos are normal. Sunlight breaking through trees, fog, the trail. But photo 38, that changed everything. It's blurry, tilted, like he lifted the camera suddenly, but in the far background, between 2 pines, there is a figure. Tall. Too tall. Arms thin and long, head bent at an unnatural angle, as if the neck was too loose. Rangers described it as something human-shaped, stretched wrong. In his notebook, Henry wrote under the photo, "Something is following me." Henry climbed the abandoned fire tower at 6:12 p.m. on day 2. He turned his recorder on again. This audio is what still disturbs search teams. You hear metal groaning as he climbs, his breathing fast, shaky. He whispers, "It's not an animal. I saw it again. It was watching me from the trees." Wind rattles the tower. Then, below him, footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. Something is circling the base of the tower. Henry whispers, "Please go away." Then, a long, deep exhale rises from below, so low it vibrates the recorder. The tower begins to shake. Henry screams, "No! Stay away!" Then, metal bangs. A scraping noise, as if something is climbing the ladder with long nails. Henry's breathing becomes frantic. He cries, "Please! Please!" Then a violent crash. Henry screams. Metal tears. The recorder falls, hits the ground. And the final sound is a slow, deep inhale, as if something leaned over the recording device. Then, silence. 42 people searched for 2 weeks. They found Henry's backpack, his camera, his notebook, the recorder. But not Henry. What they did find were 10 trees around the fire tower, all scratched, all stripped of bark. The claw marks were 8 feet off the ground. Bears don't do that. Cougars don't climb that high. Nothing native to the area leaves marks like that. A ranger said something tall was gripping the trees, watching the tower. The tower's ladder was bent outward, as if something had pulled it with enormous force. 20 feet up the tower, they found a handprint pressed into the rusted metal. 5 fingers, human-shaped, but enormous, the size of a dinner plate. Henry's last written words, scratched messily. "It knows I'm alone." The handwriting trails off, as if he dropped the pen mid-sentence. In 2014, Pine Hollow was quietly closed to the public. No announcement, no press. Just a metal gate and a sign, "Area closed, dangerous conditions." Locals refuse to go near it. Rangers avoid talking about it. All of a sudden, the handwriting closed. Dangerous conditions. Locals refuse to go near it. Rangers avoid talking about it. When time closed, Henry talked to Mac. Mac confirmed with Tyler. He noted it, but off the record, they say Pine Hollow is not empty. They say something walks between the trees at night. Something tall. Something that knocks 3 times. Something that follows people who walk alone. And Henry Walker was the first case they were allowed to document. But not the last. Most people believe Pine Hollow was closed because of unsafe terrain, but that's not the truth. 2 years after Henry Walker vanished, the U.S. Forest Service quietly removed the last ranger assigned to the region, Ranger Michael Avery. Before he left, he recorded a final audio log. A log that was never meant to be heard by the public. What you're about to hear in this story is based on the transcription of that tape. A tape recovered by hikers in 2018 and immediately confiscated by federal agents. But someone leaked it online. This is what it said. The tape begins January 14, 2014, 11:41 p.m. If anyone finds this, don't come back here. Don't even think about it. Avery's voice is shaky, breathless. We hear wind hammering the cabin outside. He continues, "I thought losing Henry Walker was the worst thing I'd see in my career. I was wrong, because whatever took him didn't stop." He pauses as if listening. "I've been hearing it every night, the whistling. Not like a person, not like an animal, something between." The log jumps forward, January 16th, 2:09 a.m. It's getting closer. Avery describes waking up to noise outside the ranger station, a soft crunching of snow. He grabbed his flashlight and looked out. There were footprints in the snow, but they weren't human, not fully. He describes them, longer than a person's, no clear toes, deep, like whatever made them was incredibly heavy. The tracks circled the station, twice, then they stopped right at his window. Something stood there, watching me. He didn't sleep the rest of the night. 2 days later, Avery's voice sounds even worse. "I saw the light again, same as Henry." He reports a faint blue glow moving through the trees. But here's the detail that connects everything. It moves like it's alive, like it's choosing where to go. He followed it for almost 300 feet, then it split into 5 smaller lights, each drifting silently between the trees like floating stars. Every instinct told me to go back. I think Henry followed one of them. That's what they want. January 21st, 3:57 a.m. This is the longest, and most disturbing part of the tape. Avery whispers, "I finally saw it." He says the creature stood between the trees at the ridge, over 7 feet tall, limb proportions all wrong, skin pale gray, almost stretched too tightly. But what terrified him most, its head. It wasn't shaped right. Long, narrow, and it didn't blink. It's so big, it wouldn't stand chance. It stood completely still, watching him. Then it tilted its head slowly, as if studying him the same way he studied animals on patrol. Avery says the thing stepped backward without turning, its body sliding into the dark. January 23rd, 1:18 a.m. The tape becomes distorted, but his voice is clear. It's scratching at the door. He describes hearing slow, deliberate scraping across the wood, not claws, not nails. Something harder, something heavier. It knows I'm inside. It wants me to open the door. Then Avery says, "Oh God, it's behind me." A crash. Static. End of tape. A search team entered the cabin a week later. Avery was gone. No forced entry, no blood, no signs of a struggle. Just one thing. Fresh footprints in the snow, stretching deep into the forest. The exact same shape found outside Henry Walker's tent 2 years earlier. But people who live near the boundary still hear the whistling on cold nights, and some swear they've seen a tall, gray figure standing motionless at the tree line, watching, always watching.